What separates the human from the divine is not the body, nor time it is forgetfulness. Forgetfulness that we are gods, and that our souls are as ancient as the universe itself. Across the world's spiritual traditions, few have tried to awaken. This memory is deeply, dangerously, and completely as Hermeticism. In a modern world filled with noise, urgency, and distractions, most people seek quick comfort for their pain, yet the Hermeticist seeks no comfort. He seeks the key. Not a key found in books or doctrines, but a key hidden in the core of the soul, veiled in layers that can only be peeled through deep inner silence. This path is not a journey outward, but a descent inward. What you're about to experience is not a manual, but a map for those who wish to walk the Hermetic path, not in temples or mountains, but amid the concrete of cities, the static of screens, and the weight of a sleeping world. If you're still here, maybe you're ready. There's something deeply unsettling about silence for the mind that's been trained to survive it. Noise, as soon as external sound ceases, thoughts, fears, and memories flood in to fill the void. But silence isn't emptiness, it is presence. It's where all that is real begins to take shape. In Hermetic teachings, silence isn't just a spiritual virtue, it is a technology, an invisible practice that opens the channel to the divine. In ancient Egyptian mystery schools, initiates were first immersed in darkness and silence. This wasn't punishment, but preparation, and that emptiness, the connection to the unseen, could finally be felt. The Book of the Dead speaks of silence as the home of the gods. Hermes Trismegistus called it the womb of the logos, the matrix from which the word arises. The true voice of intuition, the whisper of the divine, cannot be heard by a mind busy with its own noise. That's why silence, for the Hermeticist, is the first and most essential step. Even modern science is beginning to uncover what Hermeticism has always known. Studies show that just 2 minutes of pure silence can stimulate deep emotional and sensory integration in the brain. Silence does not numb, it reorders. But the Hermeticist goes further. He seeks not just quiet surroundings, but the silence of thought, and deeper still, the silence of identity, when the ego no longer tries to interpret, explain, or control. The ancient texts teach, renounce the word if you wish to hear the divine word. This isn't poetic, it's direct instruction. The Hermeticist deliberately builds spaces of silence, not to escape, but to invite. He rises before dawn, not to produce, but to listen. He walks, eats, and observes in silence, not from habit, but from reverence, slowly. Silence is no longer a moment, it becomes a state. Within the noise of the world, a still center is born, and from this center, even washing a dish or looking at the sky becomes a sacred act. Before anything sacred can be spoken, the space must be consecrated. The word only holds power when it rises from a pure womb, when it is born from silence. Long before the body was seen as a machine, it was a temple. And before it was a temple, it was a mirror reflection of cosmic law. For the Hermeticist, the body is not a limitation, but a portal. It is the sacred below through which the above can be revealed. In this temple, every organ echoes a cosmic force. The heart is the sun, the liver is Mars, the kidneys as Libra's scales. This is not symbolic fluff, it is a living understanding of the body as a microcosm of the divine. To live this truth is to reconsecrate the body in every act. Eating becomes a sacred offering. Breathing becomes invocation. Movement becomes ritual. Alchemy teaches that transmutation needs a vessel, and that vessel is the body. If it's neglected, intoxicated, or distracted, the spiritual current will burn it out. Even modern science, through epigenetics, now reveals that thoughts and emotions affect our genes. What the ancients called vital force, we now glimpse in fields of energy and bioelectric frequencies. But the Hermeticist doesn't need a lab to know this, he feels it. He breathes with attention, understanding that breath is the fire of transformation. It is the connection between seen and unseen, body and spirit, in Hermetic rites. Nothing begins until breath aligns the being. The body is the vessel where earth, water, fire, air, and ether meet. Bones give structure. Blood carries memory. Desire fuels fire. Breath becomes the bridge. And consciousness, like ether, unites it all. Everything we do to the body is part of the work. What we feel is a lesson. What we do is a ritual. There is no spiritual path without embodiment. There is no divine light. That doesn't first pass through flesh. If the body is the temple, the mind is the altar. It is where the divine flame is either kindled or snuffed out. The mind isn't an enemy of spirit, but it isn't a guaranteed ally either. It is neutral, and thus dangerous. Hermetic wisdom opens with mentalism. The all is mind. This isn't philosophy, it's responsibility. If the universe is mental, then we are creators, whether we know it or not. But a mirror only reflects clearly if it's clean. Most minds are cluttered, filled with other people's voices, old wounds, reactive thoughts. The Hermeticist must reclaim his mental space. He becomes the gardener of his own mind. He doesn't judge the weeds, but he doesn't let them take over. Through silence and discernment, he transforms the mind into both mirror and sword. The sword cuts, the sword defines. It pierces illusion not with violence, but with clarity. Illusion about the self, the world, and even the divine. True knowledge is remembrance. And remembrance is only possible when the mind is cleared of everything that is not you. The Hermeticist does not seek more thoughts, he seeks clear ones. His reason does not dominate, it serves intuition. He studies his shadow, knowing that light is born in the depths of darkness. His thoughts are examined not for content, but for consequence. Do they expand or contract? Do they bring light or more fog? Practices like dream work, symbolism, journaling when used with intention become tools in his inner laboratory. The mind can reflect or scatter light. It can help us remember or deepen our forgetfulness. But when it becomes silent, focused, and aligned with the soul, it becomes a portal. Not fantasy, but higher perception. Gnosis arises not theory, but living, direct experience. The Hermetic mind becomes an instrument not of ego, but of the all. It defends truth, reflects light, and cuts through illusion with compassion. And eventually, the mind itself is left behind like a ladder that has served its purpose. At the core of all this is will, not desire will. True will is fire. It doesn't flicker with moods or die with obstacles. It burns quietly and steadily toward its purpose. The Hermeticist does not choose his work, it chooses him. The work is not a profession or a passion, it is a destiny. And will is the thread that connects the human to the divine plan. But this will must be purified. It must be burned, reduced to its essence. The fragmented will of modern life adorned by distractions, fears, and impulses cannot move heaven and earth. But the aligned will, clean and focused, becomes a force of creation in a world that demands movement without direction. The Hermeticist lives by conscious decision. True will does not shout, it whispers. It reveals itself in silence, in unease, in persistent intuition. Once found, it offers no comfort, only truth. And the Hermeticist follows. Every act becomes part of the work. He does not collect experiences, he transmutes them. Everything is raw material, pain, joy, conflict, success. The furnace is always burning. The Hermeticist's work may be invisible, but it's powerful. His presence changes the field. His words carry frequency. His steps are aligned. It is not about grand achievements, but coherence. When mind, heart, word, and action align, the world responds. Science is beginning to glimpse this. Institutions like HeartMath have shown how coherence of mind and emotion affects the body's field and the space around it. The Hermeticist already knew. His will shapes reality like a magnet shapes metal filings. He does not use his will to dominate but to serve. He does not seek to rise above the world but to illuminate it. His path is not escape, it is transfiguration. He redeems matter, blesses routine, and consecrates his life to the one. The true Hermeticist is not the one who knows many secrets, but the one who lives the truth. He has remembered. In his breath is fire, in his step, intention, in his silence, a universe unfolding, and in his will, the flame that turns the world into gold.